All right, good people. Can you tell me what is so clearly wrong with this image? That's right, you got it. Number one, he's clearly an adult male human, a man. Number two, he looks strong, decisive and capable, not out of shape. Number three, he looks dependable, like someone you could rely on in your moment of need. Number four, he's white and probably straight, which might not be an issue individually, but when you pair them together, then this screams inequality. No, this is certainly not a great example of the kind of person who you would want to protect and serve you. Now, let's take a look at how the British police has evolved into the dynamic, strong, dependable, all-inclusive force of the 21st century that keeps us safe today.
You can't park there, mate.
Fuck off!
Ha! Have a good one.
That's enough. I'm a police officer.
There you have it. Long gone are the days of the dependable Bobby on the beat who was respected and valued throughout his community. A man who had the ear of everyone in his district and had a fair, balanced, and a no-nonsense approach to policing the neighborhood he was charged with keeping safe. And now, in the name of so-called progress, he has been replaced by a collective of ideologically driven, ineffective, unfit, faint-hearted and timid people whose only goal when obtaining the badge was to belong to a club and not to strike fear into those who would harm us or to keep the people safe. That is not to say that there aren't any decent coppers out there, but the ideology that has led us to this debacle has had sinister consequences.
This is Vikram Digwa, the killer, on the night he stabbed Henry Novak multiple times. Police released this bodycam footage. 4 other people can be seen while Henry is on the floor.
He keeps dropping side to side, so I'm just trying to keep him set up.
Alright.
He's got a mouthful of blood, I don't want him.
A discussion takes place between police and bystanders before police ask Henry.
What's your name, mate?
Henry attempts to respond. Then the police officer says,
Has anyone been hurt other than him?
at this point, Digwa steps in, saying he's the victim.
He's took my turban off, started grabbing my head.
Are you injured?
Yeah, I've got swollen eye, a little bruise.
Alright, just step back a little bit for me.
This is the first time we can clearly hear Henry say he's been stabbed in the footage, 49 seconds in. Then we see blue lights flashing as more responders arrive.
Right, let's get you out of there, shall we?
Police pull him along the ground.
Grab his other arm. What's happened to you, alright?
This is the 4th time in the footage we hear Henry say he's been stabbed, 1 minute 11 seconds after it begins.
You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? Don't think you have, mate.
We've muted the audio here because it's distressing. Henry groans as police pull his hands behind his back and handcuff him. In this section of the video, Henry repeatedly says he can't breathe.
He's saying he's been stabbed, so let's just check him.
1 minute 48 seconds in, a police officer lifts up the side of Henry's top, but goes no further. Then we can hear someone say he hasn't been stabbed.
In the face? Oh no, but we have to check, don't we?
Right.
In the face?
Then, with police surrounding him, Henry says, "Please, brother, I can't breathe." In total, we've clearly heard Henry say he can't breathe 7 times. Police officers say Henry is under arrest and read him his rights. 2 minutes 48 seconds after the footage begins, police call for an ambulance.
The death of Henry Novak has become a stark example of how institutional weaknesses inside modern policing can turn a preventable tragedy into a public scandal. At its core, the case exposes a familiar pattern: bad and discriminatory policies, missed warnings, slow responses, and a system more focused on wokeness and procedure than protection. As soon as the murderer played the race card, the police believed him without hesitation, and the victim, who when everything came to light was actually the victim of a racist attack himself, was treated with disdain and a lack of compassion. This was not down to any bad decision-making or poor judgment on the part of every police officer that was present, but rather they were behaving exactly in accordance with their handbook and the police guidelines. In essence, as soon as someone claims to be the victim of racism, everything else is not important. It should also be noted that when Henry informed one of the police officers that he had been stabbed, instead of saying, "I'm going to check you out, sir," he simply said, "I don't think you have, mate," an appalling display of the lack of standards of our modern-day police force. Another failing lies in response coordination. When critical incidents occur, speed and clarity save lives. Instead, the response surrounding Novak's final hours appears fragmented. Officers arrived late, information wasn't shared effectively, and decision-making seemed paralyzed by uncertainty and police policy. These delays didn't just hinder the investigation, they shaped its outcome. Perhaps the most troubling aspect is the defensive posture taken after Mr. Novak's death. Rather than acknowledging mistakes, the force's instinct was to protect its reputation. This tendency to prioritize institutional image over transparency erodes public trust and makes meaningful reform harder. When accountability becomes optional, failures repeat. The fact that Henry's killer, Vikram Digwa, was a Sikh and therefore allowed to carry a dangerous weapon in public without consequence due to his religious beliefs is another stark example of a two-tier policing and political edict.
And the reason I want to be really clear here today is that we are apologising and have apologised for the fact that Henry was arrested and that he was handcuffed at that time. You know, we are apologising for that, and we're very sorry for that.
Well, we are certainly glad to hear that you are sorry. But until the police get back to enforcing the law without fear or favour, without any sort of prejudice whatsoever, then these are just hollow words that will not prevent it from happening again. Back to our Bobby of yesteryear. Tall, strong, fearless and dependable, a British police officer needed to possess a strict blend of physical attributes, moral character, and educational competence. Recruits were expected to be physically imposing to deter crime and highly disciplined. Any recruit generally had to meet a strict minimum height requirement, typically between 5 feet 8 inches and 5 feet 10. Without further ado, let's fast forward to today.
Are you okay? All right. Calm down, you're fine.
This distressing footage shows the real impact of placing women on the front line of our crime-fighting teams. The woke nonsense that allows this sort of thing to be possible not only places the female officers themselves in danger, but also their colleagues and the wider public. This poor policewoman was assaulted at Manchester Airport by a thug who clearly had less respect for women than he did the law, and the consequences led her to sustain facial injuries since she was no physical match for a man. Clearly shaken and devastated, one can't help but wonder if the fact that lawlessness being on the rise is a symptom of putting the wrong people on the front line to fight it. But when all's said and done, I suppose it was another box that was ticked. Now let's turn our attention to some of our brave and gallant modern-day crime-fighting men and see how they fare. Well, maybe we could assess them in this video if we knew where they were. But wait, could that be them in the distance, moving away from the rioters? Maybe their commanding officer has told them that the trouble is in the opposite direction. Yes, it's definitely going to be difficult to score these guys on this clip, because you really have to see them fighting the crime in order to assess them, and seeing how the people causing the trouble appear to be migrants or from ethnic backgrounds, it is understandable that our fair and even-handed enforcers of the law would be running in the opposite direction. But all is not lost. I think we can judge them a little better when they are engaging with a few rowdy teenage white girls. Let's see how they get on.
Oi! No way! Oi, now! Nah, chill out! Oi, that's mad, that! Oi, yo! Jesus! Oi, now, that's mad! Oi, that's mad! Oi, chill out! Yo!
Yes, well, there you have it, folks. The men of the police, whilst generally running scared of the same sex, have demonstrated beyond any doubt that they are definitely up for a fight against a few young girls. Bravery at its finest. And whilst the older of us may hearken back to the good old days and reminisce about the respect we had for our elders, the discipline in our educational institutions, the low crime rates, and when the word riot was just an entry in a dictionary, let's try and remember that even if you get stabbed or get robbed, these good people of the modern age will try to ensure every day that we are able to live free from the utter devastation of reading a Facebook post that we may not like or the heartbreak that being misgendered might bring. Stay safe and look after yourself, because if you are the wrong color, nationality, or religion, nobody else will. Please like, share, and subscribe, because believe me when I say there is more on the way.